Welcome into DRF Daily, DRF Sports' daily betting live stream using all of DRF Sports Pro's data to give you guys the winners each and every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're watching on Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead and follow, subscribe, like, whatever it is, wherever you are watching. You can find us on YouTube at DRF Sports. Just search that in the search bar. Same with Twitch. And then on Twitter, we're a little bit different. Just search at DRF_sports. So thank you again for tuning in. We have a fantastic day of action lined up. 3 MLB games. And of course, we're going to be breaking down game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. We also have a loaded week of content coming up for you guys. Wednesday, we bring on Matt Wyrick. He's a Nationals beat reporter. He's going to give us some awesome insights into the Washington Nationals and the MLB as a whole. And then on Friday, we brought on Kevin Boylard last Friday to break down Premier League lacrosse. And this week, we're bringing on Max Sacco, our very own DRF sports writer, to come on and talk all things week 4 PLL action. So a loaded week of content coming up for you guys. Be sure to set your alarms. Be sure to set Twitter notifications, anything like that for these live streams so you never miss a minute. Last week, we went 15-8 with our best bets. Finished Friday with a 2-2 record. We lost our PLL best bet. I'm going to blame that fully on Kevin. We lost, I believe, Cardinals, Red Sox. Goldschmidt, who's having an MVP caliber season, was struck out looking, and the Cardinals lost that one by 1 game. And so we finished Friday 2-2, which pushed our overall record to 15-8. It's a new week. We're starting this week. Oh, no, we'll keep that overall running, but some fantastic games. I'm feeling a 4-0 week coming up today, and that starts with Yankees Rays. We break down Yankees Rays today, Cubs Pirates, and you might be thinking, why are we breaking down 2 terrible baseball teams? And I'm going to tell you why. It's because the value is there. Then we're going to break down some 38-30 teams, Cardinals, Brewers, and then we're going to finish things off with some game 3 action in the Stanley Cup Finals. So first things first, Yankees Rays total set at 6.5. Rays are the dogs at home tonight. Garrett Cole gets the start on the mound for the Yankees. And Shane McClanahan gets the start for the Rays. This season, Yankees have owned this season series 5-2 so far against the Tampa Bay Rays. That's including a 25-20 record down in Tampa over the last 3 seasons, 2-2 this season. So Tampa just coming off of a sweep last week, got swept by the Yankees up there in the Bronx. And their only 2 wins against the Yankees have come down in Tampa Bay. But this game's in Tampa, and the Rays have had a little bit more success against the Yankees over the last couple of seasons in Tampa. However, the Yankees still hold the edge. Like I said, a 25-20 overall record when they play it home. Yankees best team in baseball. I don't think that's a hot take anymore. They're raking it. They're pitching it well. By far the World Series favorite as of right now, as of June 20th. Still a lot of ways to go. There's still an all-star break. There's still a whole second half of the season, but Yankees are the best team in baseball right now. However, I say all of that to then say they are just 10-11 this season straight up when they're road favorites, 31-30 on the season as a whole when they're just favorites of -110 or higher. Tonight, they're -125 against Tampa. So granted, they are 49-17, and that's an amazing record. They do only have a 31-30 record over the last few seasons. Excuse me. They're 10-11 this season, though, when road favorites. Not sure what I wrote down in my notes there to say 31-30 when they're 49-17. However, Rays are 11-6 this season when they're dogs. They're not as good as home dogs, but they still have a winning record when they're underdogs. Yankees, before we get into this pitching matchup, Garrett Cole against Shane McClanahan, Yankees are coming off a 10-9 loss. Their bullpen blew the save this season, though. They're 6-1 straight up coming off of a game where their bullpen blew the save. Tampa Bay, though, is coming off of a terrible 2-1 loss to division rival, the Orioles. However, they are 9-0 straight up over the last 2 seasons, coming off of a loss to a division rival where they scored 1 or less runs. So they bounced back very well after a terrible offensive outing. And the question, though, will be, can Shane McClanahan bounce him back? He's 7-3 this season with a 1.84 ERA. His last start, he lost to Nestor Cortez. He only allowed one run, one earned, but 4 runs came across to score. Garrett Cole, on the other hand, had an absolute fantastic outing. I believe it was last Monday or Tuesday against the Rays, and he's getting the start today. So it'll be a really interesting game, especially for the 2 starting pitchers. However, I say all of that, all of those stats come into play. This is a little bit against my better judgment because the Yankees are raking and have just annihilated all competition over the last few months. But I'm going to go Rays plus 115. Our Sims think it's a 3-3 game, so they're not really giving the edge to either side. So this is when my mind comes into who gets the edge. Rays are coming off of getting swept by the Yankees just last week. They return home. They've had a little bit of success against the Yankees at home this season, picking up 2 out of 3 wins in the series win earlier in the season against them. So at home, Tampa Bay, Shane McClanahan has a good ERA. He has a good win-loss. And last time out, he pitched pretty well, only allowing 1 earned. I think it's a sneaky underdog pick. I think there's value there. Our Sims aren't giving the edge to either side, but I like the Rays to win this one. Moving on from there, we're going Cubs. They're taking on the Pirates. And these are 2 terrible teams. The 25-41 Cubs are taking on the 26-39 Pirates. Both teams minus 105 in this one. No edge at all. Complete terrible game. You might be, why are we talking about Cubs Pirates? And I'll tell you why. You see the gold star? You see the gold star on the screen right now? Here, I'll even zoom into the gold star so we all can see it. Boom. StatFox Powerline likes the Cubs here, gives them the value. And since writing this, I wrote this when the Cubs were when both sides were minus 105. The Cubs are now plus 100, so there must be a little bit of money coming in on the Pirates. And because of that, there's not a lot to break down in this game. You see, scrolling across the bottom, Caleb Gillen is taking on JT Brubaker. And if I'm being 100% honest with you guys, I've never heard of either one of those pitchers. So with that being said, give me the Cubs because there's value there. Because both of these teams are really bad. This is the first game of a 4-game series. Pittsburgh, they're coming off of a win, but they lost the series 1-2 to the Giants. Cubs are coming off of a loss, but they picked up the win in the first 2 games against the Braves, and that snapped the Braves' really long winning streak. So Cubs are coming off of a series win against one of the best teams in baseball, and they're playing against one of the worst teams in baseball. JT Brubaker, what is he, 0-7 this season with a 4.5 ERA? We won't talk about what Caleb Gillen is because he's 0-1 with an 8 ERA. But give me the Cubs plus 100. Our power line thinks there's value, so might as well sprinkle a little bit on another underdog and put together a nice little bet ticket for today. And yet there's not too much more to talk about in terms of Cubs Pirates because it's not a great game. Moving on to 2 38-30 teams. The Cardinals are playing the Brewers tonight. Brewers are minus 170 in this one. And I've been burned a few times by Milwaukee as I'm looking onto my other screen to try and pull up this game. Breaking this game down, Miles McCollum, I think I'm mispronouncing that name as I normally do. He's taken on the reigning Cy Young winner, Corbin Burns. Miles is 5-4 this season with a 2.62 ERA. Here's a really interesting thing about Miles and his performance so far this season. He's 4-0 at night with a really low ERA of just 1.16 on the season. He has a 2.62 ERA, so some really solid stuff, but it gets even better when it's at night. And this is an 8:10 p.m. Eastern first pitch. He's taken on Corbin Burns, who, while he does have a lower ERA, 2.52, 4-4 on the season. But let's break down a little bit of player props here. I think there's some value on Corbin Burns over 7.5 strikeouts tonight. Last 2 games, I believe he struck out 8. He's struck out 6 or more over his last 4 games. He averages 1.28 strikeouts per inning, and he averages 7.7 Ks per outing. Cardinals strike out 7.5 times per game. The prop is set at 7.5. So I'm leaning the over there. I think he might be able to sneak one past him a little bit more. Uh, it's contingent on him going deep into the game. He needs to go at least 7 innings. And the Cardinals, if they get to him early, that prop is in it. Very much danger, but based on all the statistics, based on everything, he averages more than 7.5 Ks per game. So give me Corbin Burnes over 7.5. That's not a best bet. That's just a little bit of a sprinkle here that I think could have some value. If we're talking bets, let's break it down. Coming in, Cardinals dropped 2 out of 3 against Boston. Brewers just swept the Cincinnati Reds. This is the first game of a 4-game set. Cards coming off of that loss, their Cards manager is 19-9 straight up after a loss, whereas the Brewers are 72-59 over the last 3 seasons against a team with a good bullpen, and that's defined as a bullpen with a whip lower than 1.25. So give me the Brewers minus 170 in this one. Not a lot of value, but it's a primetime, nationally televised game, so I want to put a little bit of action on it. It doesn't matter if there's not a lot of value. The total set at 7.5. Our Sims like it to be at about 7, so I'm not betting the total. I'm betting the Brewers to win at home. They have kind of bounced back after a really bad losing streak. So give me Brewers minus 170 to win today against the Cardinals. And last but not least, we're moving on from all of that action. It's time for our free game of the day. Find all of this information at drf.com/sports. Sign up for free. Just hit the subscribe button in the top right corner. You don't have to pay anything. If you want, you can get a monthly, quarterly, or yearly subscription, but at absolutely no cost to you. You can check out all of the data, analytics, insights, trends for this game at drf.com/sports. We also have our free game of the day tab, which you can check out, and it gives you all of the information all in one place. Our articles, videos, trends, picks, simulations, everything like that. Just go to drf.com/sports. It's time for the free game of the day. I previewed it a little bit earlier. It's game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Colorado Avalanche have a 2-0 series lead against the Tampa Bay Lightning after absolutely destroying the Lightning over there in Colorado in game 2. Won 7-0. They've now outscored the Lightning 11-3 through the first 2 games, and we're headed to Tampa for the first time in this series. Lightning, it's pretty much a must-win game because if you go down 3-0 to this Colorado team, it's going to be nearly impossible to come back. But this is a spot the Lightning are used to. They went down 2-0 to the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they rattled off 4 straight wins to win that series 4-2. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Lightning can flip a switch and turn things back on, and you return back to your home ice, and who knows what happens, but it's going to be tough against a Colorado team who is 7-0, undefeated on the road in the playoffs. And not only that, they're just a better offense than this Lightning team. And that was evident with a 7-goal performance in game 2 and 11 goals over the course of 2 games at home in Colorado. A couple quick stats. It boils down, like I said, to the offense. Avalanche average about 4 goals per game on 36 shots. Meanwhile, Tampa is 3.4 goals, so they average 0.6 goals less per game. And they just get 31 shots on goal, and that's after rounding up. I think it was 30.8 shots per goal. So after rounding up, they just don't get as many shots. They don't get as many goals. And that, I mean, to beat this Avalanche team, you're going to need to score goals. The over has hit in the first 2 games, so offense is not lacking in this series whatsoever. Colorado 24-14-3 on the road this season. Lightning 27-8-6 at home on the season. They're 7-1 at home in these playoffs. This kind of feels like, what's the saying? An immovable object meets extreme force or something like that. It's going to be really interesting to see how it happens tonight. Colorado has looked like a far, far, far better team in this one. Even in game 1, maybe I'm reading too much into this. They got up 3-1 and looked dominant, and then all of a sudden Tampa Bay claws its way back and they lose in OT. Colorado wins that one 4-3 and then just steamrolls them in game 2, 7-0. And I'm not going to say the cliche of that doesn't, as I'm saying the cliche, the series doesn't start until the home team wins a game on home ice, or the team without home field advantage, home ice advantage. The series doesn't start until they win a game This series started 2 games ago, and if the Avalanche have scored 11 goals. So this is a must-win for Tampa Bay. With all that being said, though, I'm on Colorado. I think the Colorado Avalanche are a darn good ice hockey team, and they've been wanting. They've they've been built for this moment, right? The last few seasons they've gotten so close. This is what they're playing for. They're here to unseat the dominance of the Lightning over the last few seasons. I'm going Colorado minus 110 on the road. They're going to take a very, very decisive 3-0 series lead, but I'm going to parlay this because I just don't like the value at minus 110 and the way this game is going to happen. I think Tampa Bay is in a must win, so they're not going to let Colorado's offense have all of these opportunities. They're going to want to make a statement. The statement will be still a loss, but give me the under 6 goals. I know in game 1, that was my best bet, and it missed by 1 goal because it went to OT. Give me Colorado to win and under 6 goals. Parlay that together. If you go on ia.drf.com using DRF Sportsbook, if you're in Iowa, that gives you a plus 245 value. I think it hits. Colorado wins this game. The under hits. I think Colorado wins like a 4-1, 3-1 type of game. Really grind it out. Both goalies have a really solid showing, but Colorado's offense is just way too much to handle. This Tampa Bay defense is going to struggle. So that's it for today. Let's recap some of our best bets. Some fantastic stuff as we break it down. Rays plus 115 against the Yankees. Cubs minus 105 against the Pirates. That's a certified gold star pick. Brewers minus, actually the Cubs. I made this graphic earlier today. Cubs minus 105 when I picked it. Even better news, the Cubs are plus 100 now. So you're getting a lot of value on 2 underdogs here today. Rays at plus 115 at home, Cubs plus 100 on the road. And then the nationally televised game tonight, Brewers, Cardinals. Not a lot of value on either side, but I want some action on a nationally televised game. Give me Brewers minus 170 and an NHL Stanley Cup final game 3 parlay for you under 6. And the Avalanche to win plus 245. I love the plays today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to DRF Daily, DRF Sports' betting live stream that's coming at you every single weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We're back tomorrow with some more best bets, MLB heavy tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we have Matt Wyrick on to talk all things MLB, specifically the Nationals. So you do not want to miss a single second of that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until tomorrow, have a wonderful day and let's win some bets. I'm feeling 4-0.